It's
Okay.
seven-handed at Maryland Live. It's 2-5.
Okay. So
The
2-5 Maryland Live. Are they open or is this before COVID?
This was recently. They're open now.
Are they open inside?
Yeah, they got like 40 tables that run on weekends.
Wow. Wow,
Yeah,
that's pretty interesting. I didn't know that. So all right, so Maryland Live 251K cap or what?
yeah, it's 1K cap.
Okay. All right.
I'm 950 effective, and the villain has me covered.
All right. So here are 950 effective. Okay.
All right, it folds to me on the button with a ace of spades, queen of diamonds, and I make it 15.
Folds to you
And
on
small blind folds.
folds to you on the button, and you have ace of spades, queen of diamonds to 15.
Yes.
Okay.
And small blind folds and big blind calls.
All right. So big blind calls your heads up.
Yep.
Okay.
The flop is queen of spades, jack of diamonds, five of spades.
I remember this hand. Queen of spades, jack of diamonds, five of spades. Queen of spades, jack of diamonds, five of spades. So you flop top pair. You've got the ace of spades in your hand too, right?
Yep.
Okay.
He checks it. I bet 20, and he like snap raises me to 65.
All right. So you bet 20, check raise to 65 here. Okay.
Yeah. I kind of think I should put in a 3-bet here, but
I mean,
just ended up calling.
a 3-bet here, I think would be pretty out there. Your hand doesn't need a ton of protection. And this is, again, where we get into like different streets of hand composition here, where right now on the flop, you'd rather have the ace of spades to give you the backdoor equity so that you can continue across spade turns. This is what the computer stuff modeling says.
Yeah.
This is where the value of some of this stuff, it's not necessarily the outputs of solvers, but it's how you get to it. So you'd rather have the ace of spades. Now, if the turn bricks off, now you would actually rather not have the ace of spades because you wouldn't want to unblock. You wouldn't want to block his bluffs. And then if the river comes a spade and he continues to bet, you'd rather have the ace of spades. And if it bricks out, it's just interesting how it moves from street to street. So, I mean, I would call here. You just don't really need a whole ton of protection here. You're in position.
Okay. With like the ace of hearts or something, would you 3-bet?
I don't think so, man. I mean, I think you're in position here. I don't think I'd be 3-betting the flop here a lot with just one pair. So 65 hero calls. Because also, too, remember, you're in position, so, if he checks the turn, say, for example, he check raised here 65 like he did, and you calls, right? And now the turn's like a 3 and he checks. You could just go for 2 streets, right?
Yeah. All right, so that's what happened. The turn is a 2 of hearts.
Okay.
And he checks, and I bet 100.
Turn is a 2 of hearts. I think you definitely have the best hand here. So big blind checks. Hero bets 100. Okay.
And he calls.
All right. So it looks to me like the pot is about 360. Again, you open ace of spades, queen of diamonds on the button to 15. Big blind calls. Flop is queen of spades, jack of diamonds, 5 of spades. Big blind checks. You bet 20. He makes it 65 as a check raise. You call. Pot's 160. Turns a deuce of hearts. He checks.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Big blind checks. Hero bets 100. He calls. I'm hoping that you say, by the way, it's queen of spades, jack of diamonds, 5 of spades, so the jack is not a spade. But I'm hoping that, if the river is any type of low brick here, like if it pairs the deuce, if it's like anything between like maybe a 7 and below that's not a spade, if he checks you, I'm hoping you're going to go for value again. It was your plan.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so he calls, and the river is a jack of spades. And he leads for 220.
Jack of spades. Wow.
Interesting card.
So he leads for 220. So this is where we get into this situation where if he's representing,
right? How many leads?
Well, I mean, let me just talk about hand composition really quick. If for some reason, maybe this isn't necessarily the best example, but if for some reason you're trying to figure out the likelihood if the guy's got a flush or not, it's better for you to have a spade in your hand here. Now, it's a little bit
Yeah.
different because the guy's in the big blind, so he's going to be much, much wider. But when the ranges consist of a configuration that's more condensed, where a lot of the suited hands are going to be comprised of ace-x suited, then it's even better for you to have that suit of the ace, right? That's come in here. Here, he can have a lot of space. I mean, he can have a lot of flush cards. Like people will, I mean, you only made it 3x pre, right? I mean, he could call with like 7-4 spades here. You know what I mean? He called with 7-4 spades. Would he check raise a jack and then call the turn and then bet the river on the front door spade? That's probably unlikely. It'd probably take out jack.
I didn't think he had a jack there ever.
Yeah. And then, the bluff that you beat here is king 10. So you're saying that you think he has a flush. Is that what you're saying, basically?
Yes. Yeah.
So am I going to go down this road where you think that you would like to turn your hand into a bluff here with the ace of spades?
Yeah, I normally hate doing that with like any type of showdown value, but I did. I ended up, I raised to 550.
Well, you raised to 550. I mean, here's the thing about this. Here's the theory about this. I mean, when you get to the turn, you've put in 180. So you started with 950. So you have like, 770 left to the river.
Yeah, I had like 220 left after I jammed.
So I mean,
maybe 550.
I mean, I think before we get to whether or not this is a good bluff, if you want to represent like you've got a nut flush or you want to represent like you have a full house, I would think that you would jam here if you're trying to get the guy off of a flush. I mean, that's what polarization means, because you want to give him a worse price, right? You want to give him a worse price. So I feel like if I wanted to take that for that, I would jam. I just hate trying to get somebody to fold the flush here at 2-5. You know what I mean? I mean, you'd have to really, really know the guy here to make this play. And I wonder if your hand is too far up. Like, this very well might be a call with the ace of spades. I don't know if you need to turn this into a bluff. Now, if you were to say, hey, Bart, I know the guy's got a flush here. I'm just going to jam, and he's going to fold the flush. Well, that's a fairly large exploit. But something in the chat saying, bad raise, only better calls. This guy's bluffing here. You're not raising, right, for value.
I'm raising for value.
So, again, like I said, like if you're bluffing, I think it would be a jam here. I mean, do you know this guy?
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty aggressive, but it was like an older man too, so I didn't think he would call with like weak hands. You want me to tell you what happened?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just trying to get down into the thought process. I mean, before you tell us, if you had it to do over, are you on board with my thinking that this should be a jam if you're bluffing here?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That's what most people told me, but I think I'd rather fold than call here too.
Yeah, I mean that for sure.
That.
I mean that's certainly, for sure. I mean, the other thing too is I'm trying to think if you had ace king with the ace of spades. I'm trying to think of how that fits in here, because ace king with the ace of spades might be.
I don't think I'd turn that into a bluff. You think that'd be better?
Well, what hand has more? Well, I mean, it's interesting, right? Ace king with the ace of spades, which is a bet and a call across a check raise because you got a backdoor spade draw and a gut shot, and then on the turn he checks. So you're like, I don't care, fuck this guy, I'm going to bet the turn. And if he holds on, I'm just going to go across like a spade river or something like that, right? But now he bets a spade river. You block king 10, but, do you accidentally lose here? It probably hurts you the fact that you block some of those primary bluffs. I don't know if the hand itself actually I don't know. I mean, ace king in terms of hand equivalency might actually be the same as ace queen, unless you somehow accidentally lose. I mean, it would be sometimes you see some wacky shit, man, where a guy like check raises with like pocket sevens to find out where he's at, and then he doesn't believe you. He thinks he has ace king on the turn, so he check calls, and on the river he just like spaz bluffs. And you call with ace king and you're like, oh shit, I lost. I mean, so there's a couple conflicting things here with that. So what did you end up doing? You made it 550. Excuse me, what did he do?
And he called with 6-7 of spades.
And if you jammed, what do you think you would have done? Do you think it would have been the
I
same
think
thing?
he was calling me either way now, I guess. I guess they don't fold flushes in live poker, no matter what.
Yeah, I just yeah, I mean, this is it's just one of these things where I wouldn't have an approach here to try to fold out, basically a hand. I mean, the other thing too about having a queen, as some people are putting out, is that you block some of the full houses that he could have too, right? Whereas if you have ace king, like he actually might once in a great while. So I mean,
it's really hard for me to bluff in this spot, I thought.
Yeah, but that's not going to matter to some of your opponents, though. You know what I mean? Some people still in the chat think that you're raising for value. Like three different people.
They're wrong for that, for sure.
I just think that I think that if you're gonna go for a bluff here, then you have to go larger. But I don't think I would take this particular hand to do it. And yeah, I mean, it very well might be a fold in a spot like this. And again, it's one of these ones where you can look at hand composition and computer modeling would help this. Maybe this is a call in a solver world, but people will say that the guy's just not bluffing enough here for this to be a call. So it's an exploit. But anyways, no, I appreciate the call. Thank you very much. If you like what you've seen here, please hit the subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this call-in hand, hit the like button down below. To check out crushlivepoker.com, click on the link in the description. Use the code YTA300 to get the first 30 days for free.